Boom, boom. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Math 4. All right, so today's objective. First thing, at the end of today, you're going to be taking a quiz about graphing a parent function that's without any ups, downs, lefts, rights, stretches, shrinks, anything like that. Just the parent function. We talked about this on Thursday and Friday of it'd be Monday or Tuesday of last week, okay? So I'm going to go through that just quickly. Remember, quiz at the end of the hour on graphing these three types. Second thing, you are going to be investigating your transformations on another sheet. But let's get going on, first of all, graphing. So you're going to get something that looks just like this. At the end of the hour, and it says graph y equals sine of x. Okay, well, the first thing you need to know that sine, the parent function, starts at 0, ends at 2 pi. Now, if you're having a hard time seeing this, you're going to have a hard time on your quiz too, so suck it up, buttercup. Okay, now, you always want to divide sine, cosine, and tangent functions into 4 equal parts. So I'm going to make it there, and there. Do you guys see the 4 hash marks that I've created? Now, the one thing I know about sine is it starts at 0, 0. Okay, sine actually starts at 0, 0, and then it goes as high as a 1 and then comes back down. All right, so something major has to happen at each one of these points. And so if it starts at 0, that means it must have to go up to 1 by the first mark, come back down through the center at the second mark. At the third mark, it'll be down to 1, and then finally by the last mark, it's back at the beginning. And that is how I graph my parent function for sine. Okay, it is that easy. Woo! Woo! All right, okay, next, cosine. All right, graphing cosine. Same thing, I want to divide it into 4 equal parts. It starts at 0, ends at 2 pi. I'm going to go make 4 equal marks, and then I am going to graph. But the only difference is that cosine does not start at 0, 0. Cosine actually starts at its max, and that's at 1. Now remember, sine function kind of looks like an S, or kind of like a backwards S, reflected S. Cosine should look like a U, so if it starts at its height, that means it needs to start coming down. So at that point, it'll cross. In the middle, it'll be at its lowest point. This point, it'll cross again, and then here it'll be back to normal. So now don't make a V. It's going to look more like a U, like that. Okay, that's your cosine function. And if we continued on, I mean, it could continue on, right? It could keep going. It's just going to keep going like that and that, or whatever. Okay, only a lot better than that. Okay. You only need to graph one period. All right. The next thing, tangent, we talked about briefly. Guess what? You're going to have to divide this into 4 equal parts. This one's a tricky one, though. Okay. Tangent actually goes between here and here. So its center is actually 0. Okay. Now I want to divide this into 4 equal parts. So I'm going to go here, here, and here. All right. Now here's the important thing. Remember, we had asymptotes. Asymptotes right here. Okay? There are asymptotes every pi distance. There's going to be another asymptote. So there technically would be another asymptote over here, right? But we don't have to graph that. But there would technically be another asymptote over there. Okay? The next thing is, all right, is we're going to have a 0, 0 right here, but they're going to approach that asymptote. And at the first mark over here, it's going to be at 1. So it's going to go upsy daisy like this, approaching that asymptote but never touching. Okay? And then over here, at this mark, it's going to be at -1. So it's going to go oopsie daisy all the way down, approaching that asymptote but never touches. I know it looks like it touches, but it doesn't. It does not touch that asymptote. Okay? So there we go. There is your 3 functions. You might want to watch this again. You might want to study this for like 15 minutes today. You got the time. Okay, I want you to get 100%. You need to know how to graph these parent functions. So watch it over and over and over and over and be a fan. Okay, next thing that you need to do, all right, is you need to go onto your Google Classroom. There's a thing called Graphing Trig Functions Exploration. Oh boy, I feel like you can see myself a lot better now. Okay, when we enter this, it says use what you know about transformations of graphs to complete the following activities by yourself, noting your solutions to each phase. Feel free to check your work on Desmos. Okay, here's what I want everybody to do. I want you to actually click on that link to Desmos, and it'll take you to Desmos. Okay, if you are not a fan, if you've never done Desmos before, it's an amazing graphing website. We're going to go right here into Start Graphing. All right. Now, over here, I'm going to type in the equation y equals cosine, and then I'm going to put parentheses x. All right. And notice where it starts. It starts at about 0, 1, which was right exactly with what we talked about at the cosine function. It starts, right? And here's the thing, though, is that my marks down here are not pi stuff, right? And when we like to graph sine, cosine, tangent, we like to have pi. So what I'm going to have you do, I want everybody to follow this and format their screen. And you can shift this over if you want. Format your screen this way, so pay attention. I'm going to go up here to the little wrench, graph settings. And on the x-axis, I want the step function. I'm going to go pi, and then I'm going to hit the backslash. Looks like this. And we'll say 2. So that means every time it'll go from pi over 2. So every mark it'll be pi over 2. Okay? That's just kind of nice because now notice here's where it's going to start. All right? And it goes down through, reaches its bottom at pi, goes back up through, and it completes its circuit at 2 pi. And there is your cosine function. It looks like a U, right? Okay, so I want everybody to do that. Remember, you go to the wrench, and in step under the x-axis, you're going to click, actually physically type in pi, and then that divided by 2, and make sure it all works there, all right? Okay, now I want you to complete this activity. It's up to you guys. You got to figure out how can you get things to be shifted up? How can you get it to be shifted right? How can you get it to be stretched? And how can you get it to shrink and so on and so forth? You're going to play around with Desmos. You're going to just start adding things and multiplying things and dividing things and seeing what it does to this equation, okay? And then I want you to write it down here, okay? And then when you're all done, we're going to kind of split you up into partners maybe, and kind of discuss what you guys think as far as what you'll have to do to the equation to get this thing to move up or down, left or right, and all the other kind of good stuff. All right, read your instructions, behave, go get them, pal.